Director, the first time you saw Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Did you close the files or keep reading?
Three minutes ago, Senator Eric Swalwell from California said things that would surprise the entire hall. In the Senate Intelligence Committee, during a live broadcast watched by thousands, Swalwell slammed the table so hard that the microphone fell, glasses tipped over, and the sound echoed throughout the corridor. And then he shouted, "You are a liar," said FBI Director Patel to him. "The congressional record states, 'You are a liar, Director Patel, and I will prove it.'" Kash Patel seemed frozen in response to these words. His face turned white as a sheet. He was left speechless. Because this wasn't an accusation, he had evidence to prove what he said. Swalwell had documents, photos, and most importantly, recordings. The secrets in the Epstein files were about to be revealed live on air. I need to tell you this. What happened this morning had an unprecedented impact in Washington's history. A senator lost control, but the reason he lost control was that the evidence he had was so heavy that he couldn't stay calm. If you also want to know why a senator yelled at the FBI director and why the entire room stood up, watch this video to the end and don't forget to like it, because every document Swalwell presents is an indication of how broken this system is. Now I'm going to tell you this from the beginning, so I want you to listen carefully. January 26, 2026, 9:30 a.m. The Senate Intelligence Committee met to hold a hearing on the FBI's management of classified documents. Although it seemed like a routine hearing, after what happened between Kennedy and Patel the previous week, everyone knew that no one would remain calm today. When Kash Patel entered the salon, he had 9 lawyers with him. Each one is carrying a separate file, and each one has the same tense facial expression. Patel had now gone purely on the defensive, as if he were here to survive, not to attack. As usual, she sat at the witness table and adjusted her microphone. He put his water glass next to him, but she kept looking at the door as if she were planning an escape. Perhaps he was really planning to escape, we can't know. The first 2 hours passed in a perfectly normal and calm manner. Republicans asked questions, Patel gave standard answers. These answers meant nothing to Patel. He was answering comfortably. The Democrats pressured him, but Patel went on the defensive. Everything was proceeding in a controlled manner. The committee chairman gave the floor. The Honorable Eric Swalwell from California. The salon atmosphere changed, but this time it was different. Usually when a senator took the floor, it was a calm exchange. This time it wasn't a calm change, I can say it was a tense change. Eric Swalwell stood up, but he didn't have an ordinary file in front of him. There were 3 large boxes filled with documents. It was available in this box in photographs and records. Patel saw the boxes and his eyes literally widened in fear. "Director Patel," Swalwell said, his voice normal but with an underlying anger that was clearly evident, "I'm going to ask you something. Your answer will be yes or no. There are no buts, no howevers." Patel nodded as if to say okay without saying anything. "Are there photos in the Epstein files?" This was the first trap-setting question. "Dear Senator, the Epstein investigation includes various types of documents." Swalwell loudly asked, "Yes or no?" While these conversations were happening, silence reigned in the hall. Patel slowly said, "Yes, there are photos," he said. "How many?" "I'm sure the exact number, 1,349, Swalwell shouted. 1,349 photographs, according to the FBI's own inventory records. And how many of those were made public? Patel couldn't say anything. "0, said Swalwell. "Not a single photo was explained. Why? Because there are victims in the photos? Their privacy?" Swalwell said, hitting the table with a laugh, "Lies. The victims' privacy? Then why were the victims' faces blurred in the photos as well?" Swalwell opened the first box and pulled out a thick file. This is a report from the FBI Digital Evidence section dated November 12, 2025. Epstein Photo Archive Review. Let me read. Swalwell opened the page. Analysis of the 1,349 photos is complete. Victim faces were identified in 847 photographs, and digital blurring was applied. The remaining 502 photographs only feature male figures. There is no risk to the victim's privacy. These photos can be made public. Signature, FBI Chief Analyst David Torres. This was a bombshell of a statement. 502 photos, Swalwell said. 502 photos do not contain any victims' faces, only rich and powerful men, at Epstein's parties, on his yachts, in his homes. And you, Director Patel, refused to release these 502 photographs to the public. Patel, after saying these words, drank a glass of water. Dear Senator, the classification of these photographs, Swalwell again loudly asked, who are you protecting? Are you protecting the men in the 502 photos, or did those men give you orders? These accusations are unacceptable. Not an accusation, but the truth, said Swalwell, and opened the second box. Dear viewers, I'm interrupting here. If you also want to see how deep this scandal goes, please subscribe to our channel, because Swalwell hasn't dropped the big bomb yet. Thousands of photos came out of the second box, but they're all censored and the faces are covered with black squares. These, Swalwell said, his hand trembling, are 12 photos leaked from the FBI. Thanks to informants, I have it, and in each one there are rich and powerful men photographed on Epstein's yacht. Swalwell placed the photos on the table one by one, each visible to CNN cameras. Photo 1, Epstein's yacht. Year 2008. 3 men, champagne glasses. Their faces are censored, but their body language is clearly visible. Photo 2, the same yacht, the same night. 5 men by the pool. Photo 3, Epstein's home in New York. Year 2009. Office environment. 6 men and documents. Every photo was like a bomb. Why are the faces in these photos censored? Swalwell asked. Because the FBI is protecting them, but I worked with facial recognition technology experts and had the metadata analyzed. Swalwell took a tablet out of the third box. This tablet has the metadata for these photos. GPS coordinates, shooting dates, and even the camera owner's name are included in some of them. Using this metadata, we can learn what they do even if we don't know who they are. Swalwell opening the tablet. According to the photo metadata, one of the 3 men in Photo 1 used an iPhone 7 Plus. The serial number of that phone is available in FBI records. This serial number is registered to a company in 2008, Whitmore Technologies. CEO, Thomas Whitmore. The first name has been decided. Office meeting in Photo 3, GPS data. Epstein's New York home, 5th floor, East Wing. Date, May 14, 2009. On the same day, according to SEC filings, Epstein signed a $47 million deal with a hedge fund. The owner of that hedge fund is Victor Kane. He fell in the second name. Swalwell said angrily, Director Patel, these men, these photos, they're all in your hands, and you hid them. Patel tried to get up. Sit down, Swalwell shouted. I'm not finished. Patel sat down. His lawyers were in shock. Swalwell finally produced the document. This was an email printout. This is an email dated November 15, 2025, from FBI Chief Analyst David Torres to you. I'm reading. Director Patel, I have completed my photo archive report. 502 photos can be made public, but you ordered me to classify these photos. I can't do this. This is against the law. I'm resigning. Signature, David Torres. Everyone in the living room was frozen. David Torres is a man who worked for the FBI for 20 years. You sacrificed his career by forcing him to do something illegal. 3 days after David Torres resigned, his home was raided by armed men. His wife and child were at home. They said, if you stay silent, your family will be safe. David Torres is now hiding in Canada. This created an explosive effect. The salon stood up. Democrats shouted. Journalists ran. Even Republicans looked at each other in shock. You, Swalwell pointed his finger at Patel. You had an FBI analyst threatened. His family was threatened.
Why? Because he wanted to explain 502 photos. That's completely untrue, Patel said, shouting. Swalwell raised the tablets and said, "Unfounded? This is David Torres's statement, the statement he gave to the Canadian police. I brought him here." Swalwell pressed the button, and a video opened on the large screen in the hall. The name on the screen is David Torres. He is middle-aged and his eyes are filled with fear. "My name is David Torres. I worked for the FBI for 20 years. In November 2025, Director Patel ordered me to classify 502 photographs. I refused. I resigned. 3 days later, 2 people came to my house. They pointed a gun at my wife and daughter. They said, 'If you keep your mouth shut, my family will be safe.' David Torres is now hiding in Canada." This created an explosive effect. The salon stood up. Democrats shouted. Journalists ran. Even Republicans looked at each other in shock. "You," Swalwell pointed his finger at Patel. "You had an FBI analyst threatened. His family was threatened. Why? Because he wanted to explain 502 photos. That's completely untrue," Patel said, shouting. Swalwell raised the tablets and said, "Unfounded? This is David Torres's statement, the statement he gave to the Canadian police. I brought him here." Swalwell stood up, his voice now cracking with anger. "Director Patel, you had an FBI analyst threatened. You made a family live in fear. And why? To hide 502 photos. 3 of Patel's lawyers stood up. "Mr. President, this hearing must be adjourned immediately." "Sit down." The committee chairman. "Senator Swalwell will continue his speech." Swalwell made his final move. "Director Patel, I have another question for you, and if you don't answer, I will have your name entered into the congressional record here and now for complicity, threats, and obstruction of justice." Swalwell pulled out an envelope. In this envelope, the uncensored version of one of the 502 photographs is present. Thanks to an informant, I have this photo of 3 men on Epstein's yacht, taken in 2009. One of these 3 men is in this hall right now, a Republican senator. And you, Director Patel, buried 502 photographs to protect that senator. All the Republican senators looked at each other. "Kim? Which senator?" "I'm not going to open this envelope right now," Swalwell said, "because that senator has the right to clear his name first. But if this investigation continues to be blocked, this envelope will be opened, and all of America will see it." Swalwell handed the envelope to the committee chairman. "Mr. Chairman, I am submitting a motion. David Torres should be protected and brought back to the United States. 502 photographs should be released to the public immediately. Let the faces be revealed without censorship, and Kash Patel should be immediately removed from office and investigated for charges of threats and obstruction of justice." "I support it," shouted at least 6 senators. A vote was held on the motion for its acceptance, and it was accepted. Patel stood up and left the hall in a rush without even gathering his bag. His lawyers chased after him. Within 2 hours, #SwalwellExplodes became a trending topic. Within 3 hours, David Torres's video was viewed 40 million times. Within 5 hours, the Canadian government announced that it had provided protection to David Torres. Within 7 hours, he fired FBI Deputy Director Kash Patel. Within 9 hours, the photo in that envelope was leaked. Faces were still censored, but their body language was sufficient. A senator's resignation has come. Within 12 hours, the first 50 out of 502 photos were made public. Faces were censored, but names were being investigated. Within 24 hours, the District of Justice appointed a special prosecutor. Charges: threatening, obstruction of justice, bribery. And David Torres from Canada made a statement. "I am finally free, but true freedom will come when the truth is revealed. Sometimes justice depends on the anger of a senator, lost control, and an explosion." Swalwell exploded. Kash Patel couldn't answer, and the 502 photos will eventually be revealed. If you, like David Torres, want to protect those who speak the truth and hold the powerful accountable, Share this video. Write what you think in the comments, because silence is the weapon of threats and fears, but we will continue to talk. 502 photos, an FBI analyst, a family's fear, and finally, the anger that explodes. No one, no matter how powerful, can stand before the truth.